We the one they talking about. We the one they talking about. We the one they talking about.
All right, so let's take it across the pond here. The Celtics, they trailed by as many as 22 in the first half against the 76ers. Big third quarter, midway through the third, we start there. Celtics down 1. See Horford finds a cutting Daniel Tice for a big slam. Again, Celtics up 1, their first lead of the game. All right, next Celtics possession, same score. Jaylen Brown drives, gets the lay-in and the foul. Brown would make the free throw. Celtics up 4. Just over a minute to go. Celtics up 2. Brown finds Terry Rozier for the open 3. Celtics outscored the 76ers 37-22 in the third, and they win 114 and 103. Here's Brad Stevens.
We did not play well early. They played great. That's a bad combination usually. But we stayed the course, and we've done that all year. We've come back before and big leads. And so there was no real panic, but we had to play a lot better than we were.
We got to stop doing that. If we're going to come against teams later on, and it's going to be hard to come back. So we got to stop doing that, shooting ourselves in the foot. But it just shows our resiliency that we don't give up and we don't get wavered when we get down.
I hear you, Jaylen Brown, but you guys are just so good at coming back from a lot. With the win today, the Celtics are now 2-1 in games this season where they trail by at least 20. When down by 20, the rest of the league combined is 12 and 223. The Warriors are the only other teams with multiple wins after trailing by 20.
I still trust the process. The second fan returns for the NBA All-Star voting are out or in, whichever you prefer. LeBron now the leading vote getter in the East, passing Giannis Antetokounmpo. Out west, Steph Curry's the new leader, 40,000 votes or so ahead of teammate Kevin Durant, who was leader in the first return. And remember, the All-Star game, new format, leaders in votes for each conference, captains for the game, and we'll draft from a pool of players determined by fans, media, and players. Except we won't be able to see the draft. We won't even know the results of the draft, minus some intrepid reporting. Adam Silver wants to keep it under wraps. Rachel Nichols, as you know, from the jump, you got pulled with the commissioner. Get him to televise the draft, please.
We were the first ones at the jump beating this drum. We got a press release saying, oh, they're going to announce this part here, they're going to announce this part here. And I looked at it, and I called one of our contacts at the National NBA and said, by the way, where's the draft in this schedule? And they said, yeah, we're not doing that. And we're, whoa, what? That was the whole point here. Supposedly, the way to spice up the All-Star game, which has not been good over the past couple years, was to invest players in some way. And they can't really incentivize them with money, and they can't incentivize them with just pride in their conference. So the idea was to incentivize them by knowing, hey, this guy picked me, here's where he picked me, here's the confidence he had in me, or I didn't get picked till the end. So I'm mad, and I'm on a revenge tour, and I'm going to show them. That's all gone, because even the players, Michael, the players aren't going to know who picked when. It's basically, you might as well just pick these out of a hat.
Isn't the idea to get them to take it more seriously? Wound their pride.
Here's the thing. In all seriousness, there are still 5 weeks before the NBA All-Star Game. I am sure TNT, which has the rights to this, would be thrilled to throw it on TV. If not, I'm sure we would be happy to throw it on TV. And if there is enough fan response, I think the NBA and the NBA Players Association has to at least start listening, because you've even had guys like LeBron James, John Wall come out and say, they should televise this thing.
Yep.
LeBron said, we're all men here. And by the way, the NHL has already done this. So we know that there aren't these hurt, terrible feelings. Guys have fun. It was a great telecast. Alexander Ovechkin even held up a sign that says, pick me last.
Yeah.
Because they had a car for whoever got picked last. He's like, I need a car.
All right, we'll keep that campaign going. Meanwhile, speaking of LeBron, took a big picture view ahead of tonight's game against the Raptors on the aforementioned TNT.
18 years I've been in this light right here, so I've already exceeded everything that I've ever dreamed about. So at this point, I'm just adding crazy toppings on the cake like my daughter would do. The game will let you know when it's over with. So I kind of look at, retirement as, for me, it was like, getting engaged. Like I didn't know if I was ready or not, but I just felt like it was the time. The timing was right. The vibe was right. Did I know I was ready for marriage? I don't know. Right now, I feel great. I don't feel 33. I don't feel like I don't know. You guys know the minutes I've played in my career. I don't know that. I don't feel like I've been to these straight finals in a row. I don't feel like I came in at 18 and I've played pretty much 79-80% of games since I've gotten to the NBA. So just keep it going. Y'all gonna keep following me. I'm gonna keep it going.
You're not contemplating this now, like
what? Giving it up? No. I got too many sneakers to sell still.
Rachel, what's your takeaway from what you just heard from LeBron?
I mean, he sounds like a lot of other 33-year-olds I know trying to balance work and family and all that other stuff. But I don't think we're going to see him step away from the game anytime soon, not even in the next couple of years. Look at that man. He is in his 15th season and arguably leading the MVP race. He is very interested in his long-term legacy and sort of the package he is going to leave this game with having put together. He wants a long and dominant career, and I think that is what we are going to see from him. Would not expect him to retire any time in the near future.
Yeah, I also wouldn't expect him to retire when he's a shell of himself. He's going to retire at the top of his game and leave us. He's not going to do that whole retirement tour thing. Chris Paul hit with a tee last night with 4:52 left. Houston's win over the Blazers from Scott Foster, and then went in on Scott Foster in the locker room.
I got to take tonight. Yeah, Scott Foster at his finest. You know what I mean? Yeah. He just never fails. You know, I got to take tonight. I'm over there with Courtney saying, that's Scott, and I get a text. You know what I mean? That's history there. So Scott, you know, he the man. That's who they pay to see.
All right, so the Players Union, the officials.
That, by the way, you got to give Chris credit for that last line. That was pretty good.
Yeah, and this is coming from the president of the Players Association. So you got the Players Association, the officials union, the league. There's supposed to be this big meeting at the All-Star game in L.A. coming up. How do you see that playing out?
I mean, look, Adam Silver talked about this in his press conference today. He says that if you look at the number of ejections and technicals, they're not actually up this year. So the empirical evidence isn't there. What is there is the experience, right? The players and the officials feel like this has been a frustrating season. So if the actual numbers aren't up and it just feels like it's up, that tells me this is a communication issue. And guys, and on both sides, by the way, have to do a better job taking it down a notch so it does not feel like a bigger deal than it is. Because it turns out it's a bigger deal than it has been in the past.
Always a big deal to have Rachel join us. Thank you for working overtime. See you on the jump tomorrow.
Televise the NBA All-Star Draft.
We're with you.
Campaign.
I want to join that campaign, all for it. This is a good campaign to watch. Asia Durr, one of the Player of the Year candidates this year, averaging over 20 a game for Louisville, getting warmed up for tonight's big matchup against Notre Dame. Let's take you a little bit inside to this matchup and what it means. Notre Dame, they might have its hands full. As Louisville is 18-0 this season, which is the best start to a season in school history. It's also the Cards' longest win streak in program history. Now, Louisville has weapons on offense and defense. The Cardinals are one of 3 Division I teams to rank in the top 30 in scoring offense and defense, in good company with UConn and Baylor. And joining us now, of course, women's college basketball analyst Rebecca Lobo, ahead of tonight's big matchup. Now, Rebecca, there are 4 remaining unbeaten teams. 3 are in action tonight. So which team has the best shot against UConn?
Well, I think you'd have to start with the team that was the last one to beat them, and that's Mississippi State. 4 of their starters this year played in that game a year ago in the national semifinals where they beat UConn. They've got 6'7" Tierra McCowan this year, who's having a monster year, over 20 points and 12 rebounds a game. So that's a team, and their ability to play defense, they're dangerous. I think another one is Louisville. We're going to see them here tonight, and one of the big reasons why is Asia Durr. She is one of the toughest guards in the country in terms of her ability to score one-on-one. The last undefeated team, Tennessee, they've got a couple freshmen in their starting lineup. They're young, but by the end of the season, they'll be a little bit more seasoned. But right now, Mississippi State and Louisville would be the undefeateds that you would say have the best chance.
All right, now Asia Durr, as you just mentioned, is a legit Player of the Year candidate, along with Arike Ogunbowale, both averaging over 20 points per game. What impresses you the most about both of their games?
Arike Ogunbowale is simply a scorer. She's leading the ACC in scoring right now. She's had 3 games in a row of 20-plus points. She's got a big, strong frame for a guard. She'll get out in transition, not afraid to take threes, take it to the basket, use her strength. She's a fearless scorer. And then Asia Durr is probably the most pro-ready player from the guard position in the college game right now because of her ability with a really quick release on the three-point shot, shooting 48% from there. She's got a great pull-up game off the dribble. She is a joy to watch. watch, had 46 earlier this season against Ohio State. But so both of these players are worth tuning in for tonight.
Yeah, I agree. Unbelievable that Notre Dame is still number 2 despite all the injuries they have. Can't believe they're only dressing 7 scholarship players. Thanks, Rebecca, for joining us.
Hey, Jamel, thank you.
The Pregame HQ is brought to you by Domino's. Are you set for the game? Get ready for kickoff and order now at Domino's.com. The pregame starts here.
I got Patriots, Steelers, and like I told you yesterday, Saints, Falcons advance in the championship Sunday. Obviously, the Eagles and Vikings will have a lot to say about whether the NFC title comes down to NFC South rivals. We'll tell you what they're saying in Philly and Minneapolis today about continually being disrespected.
Every single play, dominate. Dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3, dominate! We always do each other! 1, 2, 3, keep doggy!
Exactly.
You know, Michael, he looks good and he sounds good, but we're not going to know for real until Saturday night. And this is Philly, and we like to keep it real. So I asked Doug Peterson today, has this team gotten over the shock? What evidence is there that this team has gotten over the shock that Carson Wentz is not coming back? Listen to his answer.
The train's still kind of moving. Even though we're sick to our stomachs that these guys aren't with us, out there on the field, the train's still moving. And the sooner we get over that, and get on to the next order of business, the better we're going to become. And so, but that's a process. That doesn't happen overnight. You know what I'm saying? It takes a little time. Now we've had that time, and we moved on, and we, have a great opportunity sitting here in front of us today.
This is one of those 16, 17-hour days, right, Michael? Mm-hmm. Michael Kendricks just came out. He's been studying film all day. Nate Sudfeld, the backup quarterback. LeGarrette Blount just came out the door, waving his ring finger, saying no days off. That's what he learned up in Foxborough. That's how you get the big one. And I had a private conversation with Doug Peterson. I said, how much have you talked to this team about starting fast and playing fast against the Falcons, who played fast and started fast against the Rams in the wild card win out at the Coliseum? And he said, yeah, I brought it up to them. I said, you know what? We got to not only play fast, but in the first quarter, we got to play fast and we got to start fast. And he said, that's the thing that I'm going to tell them for the next 24 hours. I texted Doug Peterson at 0:30 this morning. My man's still in here studying tape, trying to get any edge he can. Falcons are experienced and a fast football team, and they want to get ready for that game on Saturday night.
Since you're in Philly and we keeping it real, Sal, you've been embedded with the Eagles. You saw our Sixers, man? You saw them in London? Take one on the chin against the Celtics? Speechless, I know. Same here. Same here. I'm from leading by 19. Well, yeah, got it.
Up part of the bracket, Andrew Breeze to the growing Case Keenum fan club ahead of their playoff matchup Sunday. Breeze said of Case Keenum, I always root for guys like that, kind of the undersized guy coming out that nobody wants to give any credit and just always plays with a chip on his shoulder. Case has done a phenomenal job. I've been really happy for him. Guess what, Breeze? The feeling is mutual.
Just a guy that I really admire how he moves the ball down the field and how he operates, what kind of leader he is. I read his book a long time ago, so I think somebody to learn from. I try to watch all the really good quarterbacks in the offseason and take little things and try to work on my game. Implement things that I think work well with adding to my game.
All right, Courtney Cronin joining us live from the North Pole, otherwise known as Minnesota. Courtney, Case Keenum is starting his first playoff game. Is he nervous?
Well, Jamel, take a look at how he started his season here with the Vikings. Gets thrown into the fire in week 2. From that point on, he never knew if he was really going to be the starter. Always been talked about whether somebody's going to be pulled in place of Case Keenum. So And I mean this sincerely. I'm around him every single week, and you hear the exact same thing. Taking this one day at a time, one game at a time. Honestly, he's the world's most sincere broken record. And he has every right to be. He's not thinking ahead as far as where he'll land in 2018, or even sooner than that, as far as getting his team past this weekend and to an NFC championship and then a trip to the Super Bowl, which makes it that much easier for him to stay in the now. And it's something that his teammates echo as well.
The thing that stands out most is the way that he's prepared and the way that he just takes it literally one day at a time and prepares the most he possibly can for that day. And it really does take a lot of pressure off us because we know that he's prepared. We know he's going to get us in the right plays, and we know he's going to find the right guy.
Not really putting too much in perspective, not really looking too much at the big picture. I'm keeping my blinders on and thinking about what's going on right now.
And Jamel, Keenum is not focusing on trying to play some certain type of way this weekend, whether it's, more conservative or whether he's going to let it rip, considering this team hasn't had those explosive plays in the last few weeks. He's focusing on not trying to be anyone other than himself, and that's what got them here and got him here in the first place.
All right, Courtney, thank you so much for joining us. And for your sake, I hope that the Vikings make the Super Bowl to make all of this worth it for you at the very least. So thanks for joining us. All right, we're about 10 minutes away from this clash of the Titans, our Thursday Women's Night Showcase featuring two of the top teams in the nation. You had Notre Dame taking on 18-0 Louisville, the number 3 team in the country versus the number 2, 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN, also available on the ESPN app.
I appreciate that you're a Louisville person.
Yeah.
I'm a Louisville kind of guy.
The Louisville people will tell you it's Louisville.
I know.
Anyway, here's Saints defensive end Cameron Jordan on his early memories of growing up in Minnesota. We were just talking about a minute ago.
My memories of that young childhood is sort of in and out. I remember jumping in some leaves, it was so cold outside, we got locked out of a car, being at an away game or something where it was snowing and I was miserable and I was like, I hate football.
11 o'clock SportsCenter, a lot of stuff to get to. Cavs, Raptors, as the Cavs try to bounce back. Also, top plays of the first half from the NBA, and more talk about Titans and Patriots. Lots of sports, lots of coverage. What else do you want me to say? That's what it is.
Department of Army filed an opposition with the U.S. Trademark and Patent Office against Vegas Golden Knights ownership for using a similar name, the Golden Knights, and certainly a similar color pattern. The Golden Knights are a parachuting operation in the U.S. Army. The sports teams are the Black Knights. I love the rebuttal on the part of the hockey team saying at no point did anybody come to our games expecting to see a parachuting display. So
show me the lie, right? This is your team, though, right?
Yes, that's right? My squad.
That's your adopted squad?
That's my squad. I jumped on the bandwagon early as an expansion year early, yes.
It's an expansion year early.
Yeah, every night, I never miss a Golden Knights.
It seems like not a nonsensical fight, but it's just like, why? Chris Paul, he scored an uncontested layup in the final seconds of this game. Instead of running out the clock, Damian Lillard, not real happy about it, expressed his feelings afterwards and basically said, man, what did that get you?
Right.
And look, everybody knows how super competitive Chris Paul is. Not surprised.
He bet his match in chippiness. Damian Lillard just...
Oh, totally. Yeah. But you know what they say, if you don't like it, stop it, right? And
yeah, but that's my guy.
You don't need it.
He had to do that.
No, but...
It was a layup. It wasn't a three-pointer. It was whatever.
Right. So, but I get why he was a little upset. It was in Damian
This is my mood every day, right here. Rodney Hood got ejected, received a second technical, and then he should be receiving a fine for that. Hopefully that wasn't an iPhone X, my man, but you know what?
Hope he had insurance. Hope it didn't crack.
Yeah, usually about $25 grand for interacting with fans.
So that's like mood?
Mood. Yours truly, absolutely.
I want to put 2 other letters with it, but I'm not.
No doubt.
But you know,
I know what they are.
You know what they are.
Before we call it a day, who had a good day?
All right, remember former South Carolina star Marcus Lattimore? Well, he's going to be returning to be an assistant coach with the Gamecocks football program. His NFL career, as you remember, were derailed by 2 knee injuries, one of which was very gruesome that he suffered in college.
The most popular players in that USC history. Hey, the story, or the highlight last night was Lauri Markkanen having 8 threes and 30-some-odd points for the Bulls in that double overtime win against the Knicks. But the story, first time in NBA history, we believe, the Bulls took their moms on a trip. Sightseeing, spa treatment, team dinner.
That's how you do it.
Fantastic. All right, that's it for us. Notre Dame, Louisville is next. That's how you take care of the hands that once took care of you.
We the one they talking about. We the one. We the one they talking about. We the one. We the one they talking about.
All right, so let's take it across the pond here. The Celtics, they trailed by as many as 22 in the first half against the 76ers. Big third quarter, midway through the third, we start there. Celtics down 1. Ian Horford finds a cutting Daniel Tice for a big slam. Again, Celtics up 1, their first lead of the game. All right, next Celtics possession, same score. Jaylen Brown drives, gets the lay-in and the foul. Brown would make the free throw. Celtics up 4. Just over a minute to go, Celtics up 2. Brown finds Terry Rozier for the open 3. Celtics outscored the 76ers 37-22 in the third, and they win 114-103. Here's Brad Stevens.
We did not play well early. They played great. That's a bad combination usually. But we stayed the course, and we've done that all year. We've come back before and big leads. And so there was no real panic, but we had to play a lot better than we were.
We got to stop doing that, If we're going to come against teams later on, and it's going to be hard to come back, so we got to stop doing that, shooting ourselves in the foot. But it just shows our resiliency that we don't give up and we don't get wavered when we get down.
I hear you, Jaylen Brown, but you guys are just so good at coming back from a lot. With the win today, the Celtics are now 2-1 in games this season where they trail by at least 20. When down by 20, the rest of the league combined is 12-223. The Warriors are the only other teams with multiple wins after trailing by 20.
I still trust the process. The second fan returns for the NBA All-Star voting are out or in, whichever you prefer. LeBron now the leading vote getter in the East, passing Giannis Antetokounmpo. Out west, Steph Curry's the new leader, 40,000 votes or so.
And I called one of our contacts at the National NBA and said, by the way, where's the draft in this schedule? And they said, yeah, we're not doing that. And we're, whoa, what? That was the whole point here. Supposedly, the way to spice up the All-Star game, which has not been good over the past couple years, was to invest players in some way. And they can't really incentivize them with money, and they can't incentivize them with just pride in their conference. So the idea was to incentivize them by knowing, hey, this guy picked me, here's where he picked me, here's the confidence he had in me, or I didn't get picked till the end. So I'm mad, and I'm on a revenge tour, and I'm going to show them. That's all gone.
Ahead of teammate Kevin Durant, who was leader in the first return. And remember, the All-Star game, new format, leaders in votes for each conference, captains for the game, and we'll draft from a pool of players determined by fans, media, and players. Except we won't be able to see the draft. We won't even know the results of the draft, minus some intrepid reporting. Adam Silver wants to keep it under wraps. Rachel Nichols, as you know, from the jump, you got pulled with the commissioner. Get him to televise the draft, please.
We were the first ones at the jump beating this drum. We got a press release saying, oh, they're going to announce this part here, there's going to announce this part here. And I looked at it,